Okay, we are now recording. Welcome to the 2020 Shenandoah Valley Fiber Festival virtual event. We are honored to have our artist extraordinaire, Bridget Brown, at her farm and at her fiber mill. So this is the Headspring Fiber Mill Tour. This is live, but we are recording it and we'll be updating it or uploading it to YouTube after the event. So please leave yourselves on mute. If you've got any questions, please fill them out in the chat. And once the tour is over, we'll ask Bridget lots of questions, probably outside, because the internet is a little spotty in Summit Point, West Virginia.
Bridge?
Okay, hi everyone. I'm Bridget Brown, and this is Headspring Fiber Mill on our Headspring Farm in Summit Point, West Virginia. I'm right over the line from Berryville, Virginia, where the Shenandoah Fiber Festival would be happening. So I'm just minutes away. And we are open for business. We have been open for business, which is great. So we've been in existence since the early part of last year. And we had the opportunity to purchase some mill equipment, and we thought about it, and we thought it would be the perfect fit for our farm. I have a lot of contacts in the fiber industry locally. Plus, we have all of the fiber animals on our farm, and we had room, so we went ahead and took the plunge. I'd like to thank all of the customers that we've had in the past year that have been a tremendous support for us. It really means a lot to us. Your business has really got us our foot off the ground. So thank you so much to everyone who has brought fiber, and there have been a lot of you. We have a lot of different fiber sheep on our farm. Of course, they're all sleeping behind the barn right now, so maybe later they'll come out. We've set it up so that they can come behind the mill, behind my wool shop, and go out to that front pasture there, and they don't eat all my flowers and trees and plants. We love working with the fiber. We make the artisan yarns, rovings, bats. No fiber goes to waste here. We have a lot of breeds. We have over 70 sheep and several alpacas. We have a few rare sheep breeds, Jacob and Shetland. And we are official fiber providers of the Livestock Conservancy Shave 'em to Save 'em program. And we sell products from our Jacobs and Shetlands on our Etsy store, Bridget's Farm Cart. We also have Cormo, Wensleydale sheep, lots of Finns, because you know they all have babies, lots of babies, so we have lots of Finns. We have some Border Leicester, Blue-faced Leicester, and one East Frisian sheep. So we have a great variety of fiber here, long wool, short wool, fine wool, medium wool. So we've worked with all kinds of fiber just from our own sheep. And I am a spinner and a knitter and a weaver and a felter. So none of the fiber gets wasted here. It gets used one way or another. Plus, I know what spinners, weavers, felters, and knitters like. So that gives us the opportunity to use our fibers in different ways. Tim and I are both artists, and so we like to do the artisan type yarns, and that works best with our equipment as well. And we like to work with different color in creating the rovings and roving bumps and our rug yarn. We love working in the mill. It's right down the driveway from our house, so we can work whatever hours we want, and the commute is great. Plus, we're surrounded by our beautiful environment, our farm, and our sheep, and all of our other animals, including Georgie and doggies, livestock guardian dogs. Then I have my wool shop over here, which came before the mill, but that's like my workshop, and I host workshops there, and I do my own fiber arts in there, and then that's a showcase for our fiber products. And that is open to the public, so you can come and visit anytime. Just bring your mask. Maybe let us know you're coming, so I'm not at the grocery store or something, but it's open for business. And then Tim has the barn over there full of antiques and barn finds. So when you come to visit the farm, there's a multiple things you can do while you're here. So plan to spend a little time. So now I know you're anxious to see what's inside this building. So let's go into the mill and see. So follow me. Look, it's like Mayberry.
Yeah.
The people drive their bikes to the mill. All right, come on inside. This is our fiber mill. And we had this building built specifically for this equipment. Our equipment is called Belfast Mini Mills, and they're in Prince Edward Island. And we would love to go visit them someday, but they've been very supportive and helpful since day number one. This equipment is smaller. It's made for farm use. It's not industrial size equipment, but it's perfect for what we do here. We process wool, alpaca, and mohair on this equipment. And we have had a lot of shave 'em to save 'em fiber breeds that we processed through here. We just got some Black Welsh Mountain in yesterday, and Clun Forest we did last week. We've also done some Cotswold, Horn Dorset, Leicester Longwool, Lincoln, CVM, Shropshire, and Tunis. So we are all excited to do those shave 'em to save 'em breeds. And these are from local fiber providers, you know, and I know them all. So if you're looking for something, let me know. I might be able to point you in the right direction locally. Here, this is kind of our check-in and shipping center. These are some of the things that we sold this weekend. So we're getting ready to ship them out. So when the fiber gets checked in, then we do our paperwork and we double bag it and we move it to the rear. So let's take a walk back here. So I don't know if you can see, we have the garage door closed right now because the light was better. Well, Tim, this is Tim, my partner, by the way, Tim Daly. He helps operate the mill, and he's great. But see that horse van back there? So that's some of our wool storage. So we double bag everything when it comes in, and we put it into the horse van until we're ready to work on it so we don't trip over everything, which is really great. Then we have the tumbler right here. Wait, hold on.
Okay, yep.
Here's the tumbler. So the tumbler, we have these skirting tables, and we can put the fiber out and kind of pick through it. We skirt our own fleeces here, but most of our customers' fleeces are skirted when they come in. But we take it and we put it into the tumbler, and then we turn it on. And as you can see, it will, the second cuts, which happen when the shear goes over the sheet twice, they will fall through. So the smaller pieces of fiber, the second cuts will fall through the holes. And also like a lot of VM, which is vegetable matter, hay, little pieces of whatever come out. So that helps clean the fleece. So that's the raw fleece still. Then we have our washing area over here. And we have all these sinks, and we have the hot water heaters, which are large capacity. We can do about 28 pounds of fiber in one run with all of our equipment. We spin out the water in the washing machines, and we use a variety of pH balanced detergents. And eco-friendly detergents. And the key is hot water when removing the lanolin from fiber. And the hot water melts the lanolin, and the detergents act as a surfactant to remove the dirt and grease from the fleece. Okay, so our equipment likes the fiber to be very clean. no lanolin, no scented detergents. And so sometimes when people wash their fiber at home and send it to us, we do end up having to wash it again because it needs to just be very, very clean. It does build up on the equipment. So then the water drains out into our garden area back here, which kind of acts as a riparian buffer, and it goes into the ground. It's just gray water, so we're working on plans to recycle that wash water back into our garden or back into the mill to reuse it, and that's kind of a goal we have for the coming year. So after the fiber's washed, and I do it 2 washes and 1 rinse. So 1 wash, 2nd wash, 3rd is rinse. And then it goes on the drying racks over here. We don't have to walk the whole way over because we're gonna stay over here. But let me come over here. As you can see, we have fiber piled up, ready to be processed over here that's dry, clean, ready to go. We also can put drying racks outside, and you wouldn't believe it, but like a fleece in a day, you know, like today that's warm and sunny, it'll dry in 1 day. And so it's ready to start processing tomorrow. So after it's washed and dried, we can dye it. I also provide a dyeing service, which a lot of mills don't, but I love to dye. And so I have this area set up. Fun, if you want to walk back here, you can see the great mural that Tim did of the sheep. That's my color inspiration right there. Isn't that beautiful? See the sheep go up and turn into little flying critters. So I just have hot set up, and these are all my dyes. These are acid dyes. They're color fast acid dyes. Plus I have the greener shades, which some customers want a natural dye, so we use those on their product. But I'm open to any kind of dyeing for the customers, and I do a lot for us too. And we put the kettles on with hot water on them on these burners, and then you just put the powder in and a little of the acid, which is the citric acid powder is what I use, into the pot, and then put the wool in, and it simmers for, you know, 20 minutes, half an hour until the dye absorbs into the wool. This is the pots I use here. And I just put them on the hot burner. And the color is absorbed into the wool, and then the water turns clear, believe it or not. But yeah, it does, because all the color goes into the wool. So that's that. So that's the dye area. So after I dye, well, some of the fiber can be dyed before it's turned into roving or yarn, but I do a lot of dyeing of finished yarn as well. And I can do some fancy stuff by laying out the skeins of yarn in my steamer here, and, you know, doing pretty hand painted yarns in that area. All right, so then after it's dyed, or if it's not even dyed, if it's just natural fiber, here we have some beautiful Jacob from my sheep. Which one is this, Jim?
I don't know.
It's Jem. He doesn't know. He doesn't care. This is Jem, and she's a really fine Jacob, believe it or not. Jacob's vary between like fine and medium wool, but Jem has a beautiful crimp. She's very soft. But we're making this into roving, or we're going to end up making it into yarn. But this is the first step. And Tim is going to show you how we do the picker. This is called the picker. And this opens up the fiber locks and gets it ready for the next stage. All right, honey.
So this is what the fiber looks like after it's washed. Before it's washed, it looks like this, white fiber. After it's washed, it looks like this. And then we put it on this belt and turn this machine on.
which is kind of
It
scary.
blows into that box over there, which is set up for small amounts. We have a larger one if we do big runs, but this little cage holds 2 or 3 pounds, and a lot of our, that's all we have to do for different runs. So this turns on here. There, takes it in that side. This side looks like this. Close it out over here. So, what this machine does, it turns it from this to this.
Let's get it closer.
It just,
You see how it's picked open these tight little locks here, and it's fluffed it out and made it into a open, this one got missed, but it opens it up so that when it goes through the carder, it's not.
that container, and this opens the locks up enough that they'll accept the conditioner better, which controls static. So after it goes from this to this, we come over here to the carder. Now, if it's going to be made into yarn like this is, we card it twice. There's 2 carders here. This first carder, and normally these machines have guards, protective guards all the way around. I took them off for this video so you can really see how the machines work, but they have plastic shields to protect people that stumble. So this goes on like this. You take the stuff that came out of the picker and distribute it on this belt, turn the machine on, it goes in this side like this, and then it goes down to the machine, around this side. Comes out of the machine as this web. Some people just want this. We call it a cloud. It can, and you can spin right from this if you hand spin, or you can use it to stuff pillows or whatever. But this is the first carding. So this the stuff goes from the picker, then it goes from this machine into a cloud. And then this is the other carder. The stuff that came from the cloud over there, I distribute on this belt, and I'd weigh it. I put 2.5 ounces on each section. This has already been weighed, so I would distribute this along this belt. And since this wants to be yarn, eventually, when it goes to the spinner, it wants to be really organized and even. So I do my best at this stage to get it as even as I can. And then when this machine goes on, it's the same as that machine, but it's got a different attachment on the other end. This machine catches the web that came out of the other machine, and it consolidates it through a tube roving. And over here, I do the math. And I figure out how many yards of roving I'm going to make out of the whole bunch. And I try to divide it into 2 or 4 cans so that each of them equal amount. So I set a timer on here, and when it gets to, say, 75 yards, the buzzer goes off, and I know to switch to the next can. So after it's gone through here, and I have 2 cans of roving, I take it over here. This is a draw frame. And what this machine does, this has already been run. The roving, this is a different color, but originally the roving looks like that. It's thick and coarse. And then you combine 2 of them together and you pass them into this machine. And each series of rollers, come over here. Each series of rollers goes a little bit faster than the one before. So if it stretches it by a factor of 2.5. If you put 100 yards in that end, you get 250 yards out this end. But if I have two cans that each have 100, I'll combine them and I'll get two cans of 125, and then I'll combine them again. This has already been drawn through once. So then when I turn this back on, it'll pull those two together and it'll combine them into one. And this is a little bit thinner than either of those were, but it's more uniform because any irregularities in one get combined with the irregularities in the other, and you wind up eventually with a nice thin uniform strand of fiber. And this machine also has a timer, which you just reached. I had it set on 20. When it went to 20, it shut right off. But watch, I'll set it on, for instance, if I wanted to put 25 yards in each can, I just do the math. If I have 100, I multiply it by the factor, and then I divide it into two cans. So now it's set for,
Set for more.
This is set for 2 yards. So it'll run till 2 yards come through, and then it'll just shut off automatically. So I could put, that way you get equal cans, and then when you feed it back through, you don't have this, it just keeps coming out.
You want to talk about the rug yarn maker?
No, it's not hooked up. Okay. Well, I guess we can. This machine over here, which is not hooked up at all, this machine makes rug yarn, coarse spun rug yarn. And it runs across the bottom of the carder where the web comes out. The string spins like crazy and it picks it up like cotton candy. And it makes big bumps of rug yarn, which we'll show you later over in the wool shop. But the machine's not hooked up, and unless you see it running, it's kind of hard to visualize. But it runs off the same carder. But anyway, so we'll take this fiber, this stream of fiber here, and then it's ready to go to the spinner. Now, what we do, this is a 4-spindle spinner. It can do four things at once, 4 cans at once. But I put the cans back here. This is not the exact same fiber, but it's for a different order. So the cans of stretched roving are behind the machine. And then when Bridget turns the machine on,
It gets fed up through here.
It gets fed through here and it gets spun. Now this is just single ply art yarn. It's thick. If we were going to make it thinner, we would add a different roller here and it would stretch it some more to make it come out thinner. But we want this to be thick. It's going to look like what's on this table right here. When it's done, this is the yarn we're making today. But you turn the machine on.
Yeah, so we can set the different settings based on this control panel here. We can set the draft so that it drafts more or less, and we can set the number of twists per inch as the fiber stream is coming down. But we're going to demonstrate this single Lopi, and you can watch it fill up the bobbins. There's no draft set up because we've taken off the rollers on top, so it's not drafting it at all. It's just twisting the fiber that we made, we made in the draw frame. So now it's filling up the bobbins, and usually we make our art yarn 100-yard scale, but we forgot to set it. Sometimes it gets so fat. But yeah, so we make them 100-yard scales because they fill up the bobbins really. So here you can see, this is my skein winder. And these bobbins are already full of the same product. And then this has a counter on it as well and a speed set. So when I turn this on, it's going to wind all 6 of these skeins. Watch. It's my favorite thing because it has the counter. if you're a spinner, you know how it's right here. So now it's just winding the skeins, and when you should be 100 yards, and I'll just tie them up and then roll it on to go. Some Lopi that is, well, we call this Lopi. Lopi is traditionally an Icelandic fiber made into a single ply, and it's used a lot for sweaters and things, but we call this Lopi just because it's a single. It's kind of double twisted. But usually I wash these skeins to set the twists because they are quite fragile. They're looser. But the thing I like about them is that it's as close feeling to the natural fiber as possible. It's like feeling the sheep right there, which I love. It's not, you know, twisted into 3-ply or 4-ply, whatever. So I love to knit with this. I think it's great stuff. It makes great hats, cowls. I haven't done a sweater yet, but I will. So these are really fun. Oh, no, this is not Lopi. Yeah, this gray right here, this will become this fiber. I overdyed it, and look at that nice, rich, deep red. And this we made for a pattern that was developed for us that is going to be coming out in the next week, and it's for a hat pattern. So we'll be announcing that next week. These are some skeins of smaller 2-ply from my sheep Francis and Louisa, which are Cormo fin crosses, and I just dyed those this week. Oh, also, with our mill waste, with a lot of the fiber that falls on the floor or that we sweep out the door, we usually run it through the tumbler again. I mean, it's washed, but it does pick up dust and dirt. But we run it through the tumbler and wash it again. And then we fill jog beds. And a local seamstress artist friend of ours makes these great jog beds. And as you can see, we reuse our poly feed bags from our feed and our sheep, and we fill them with that waste wool. It's nice and puffy. And then the outside covers have a zipper, and they're removable. You take this out and you can wash the outer cover. So we sell those as well, which is great. And I lost my script. So anyway, so this is how we make the yarns. We can do 4 at a time. Then we can wind the skeins here, and they are good to go. So let's go back up front. Yeah.
Bethany, is there any questions we can answer right now?
Yeah, that would be great. So give me just a second to go to the chat. Okay, so a question from Deb. Does the tumbler work for sheep's wool or only alpaca? Sounds like it works for anything.
Oh, it works for both. And believe me,
yeah,
alpacas are really dusty, dirty critters. They love to roll in the dirt. So when you put an alpaca fleece in there, a cloud of smoke comes out. It's really funny. And it does give some of the VM out too. But we can't get all of the VM out. It's best if you skirt your fleeces, alpaca or wool first, and get a lot of that hay out, because we can only get out maybe 50%.
It gets handled 3 or 4 times, and each time we handle it, we try to take some more VM out, but it does wind up, if it starts out with a lot of VM, it'll wind up with still some VM in the end.
Yeah. Okay.
Okay.
More questions?
She was curious to know if the wool tended to felt in the tumbler. If you have to
No,
rub
I've never had wool felt or alpaca felt in the tumbler. The tumbler is not, because it's a dry process, there's no water.
You come out here and look, I'll show you something else about the tumbler.
Come out here and look, he says.
And I'll tell you here too. So in order to felt, you have to usually have 2 of the 3 things. So the water, the alkalinity, and the agitation. So.
Right.
Yeah. Okay. All right, Tim, go ahead.
It's got big spikes on it. So when it goes around, these spikes if anything, unfelted. That's for
Yeah.
it beats it up and it distributes it, and it breaks apart clumps.
Cool.
Okay,
Come around to Bridgie.
any other
So
questions?
I have a question.
Okay,
And we have lots of thank yous and lots of, let's see, hi Bridge and Tim looks amazing from Dave Russell.
it's my brother.
And, oh, that's great.
Dave.
And there were lots of thank yous and wonderful setup. And my question is, when you do the core spinning, what is actually making up the core?
Okay, come on back over here. So there are two things we can use for the core. A sisal twine, but most commonly we use a cotton core. But the main thing is, it has to be very strong because there's a lot of tension when it goes through the machinery.
This is what's left of this bump of cotton. There's a whole nother spool of it there. I think it comes in, it's like 2,000 yards, and the cotton makes it more flexible. Like if you're making small rugs or something like that. We're going to start next week. A lady wants a room size rug, and I'm going to try to use thicker, either jute or sisal. I'm going to try to use regular sisal hay string from a farmer, but I'm not sure if our machine can handle that thick. But she wants it thick like this, but she wants it kind of dense, and that would take a lot of fiber to make that a thick, dense product on this, and we only have 40 pounds to work with. So I want to try to use a thicker string to start with and see if that will work.
Okay.
Thank you.
All right,
Oh,
so
how dirty does the mill get? Like, how often do you have to vacuum and stuff?
daily. I mean, we have just from the VM, there's dust everywhere. And wool all over. It just, yeah, it's not clean. It's a dirty job.
And the machines have to be maintained. The wool gets in the bearings if you're not careful. So when the machines are running, every time I stop the machine, I feel every bearing just to see if something's getting hot. And if something's getting hot, that means there's something wrong. And you just fix it then. They're easy to work on, and Belfast mini mills are wonderful. You can call them on the phone, and anything you don't know how to do, they'll tell you how to do it. But the trick with this machinery is to make sure, see if you watch this from the side, all those chains should be lined up. And if I'm operating the machine and I notice that something's out of whack, I stop the machine and I fix it, because then you don't break anything big. If you just pretend it's not happening, like the oil light on a car, the next thing you know, you need a new engine. The same with these machines. And none of these rollers actually touch each other. They all have a little gap between them so that they have teeth on them, just like a hand carder, but they don't touch. And you have to keep that gap set properly. So once in a while, I just check it. I've got gauges. But that seems to be the trick to the mill, is to, anytime there's a problem or you think there might be a problem, you push the red button, boom, and it stops the machine, and then you give it some thought. I don't even leave them running when I'm not standing here. I shut them off, because if something goes wrong and I'm not here, it's too late.
Yeah, you have to stand and watch a lot of the equipment most of the time. But Tim cleans the carders, the drums off between jobs. I mean, he scrapes them all up. So we have a lot of this carder waste, we call it. And we even use that for different things. And we give it back to the customer, or if it's ours, I can felt with it. We make rug yarn with it. So it gets recycled somehow. But between jobs, he cleans these drums off and he maintains the equipment. He's really good with that. I'm not a oil car changer, so I'm not allowed to be over here. He mostly does this part, and I do a lot of the washing, and I do the checking in and the dyeing and the spinning. But he operates these carders, and he really likes it. He always says it's so much easier to pick this up than a bale of hay, right?
Yeah.
It's a lot easier on his
I
back.
can run both these at the same time, and I can even have that draw frame running. I've got mirrors on the walls. If you stand over here, Bon, when the stuff goes in this side, I can see it coming out in that mirror. So I know if it botches up on that end, I don't have to be there. I can just see and I stop it. I've got mirrors for all the machines. I've got mirrors so I can stand over at the picker and watch the draw frame, you know, and it helps because you notice things. If something's not right, you stop it, boom. But if you can't see it, you don't know it's not right. Now, are you going to wander over to the wool shop?
Yeah, we're going to wander over to the wool shop if that's all right, but you can continue on with some questions.
Okay. So did any of the equipment, did you buy brand new? Because I know that you bought it from another mill that closed.
Yeah, nope, it's all used equipment and it all works great. We had Belfast come here. One guy from Belfast came when we first got it and we fine-tuned everything. Of course, Tim is great with the equipment, so if something goes wrong, you know, he knows he can fix it pretty much, or he can work with Belfast.
Belfast Mini Mills is the nicest people. We didn't buy this from them. We bought it from another mill that shut down. We bought them out. And I called Belfast and the guy said, well, what you should do is have one of our technicians stop by after you're all set up. And this guy came down here and he spent a day with us and he made sure we knew how to use everything. And he gave me his cell phone number. And you can call that place anytime during the day and explain what your problem is, and they help you. It's just old-fashioned, wonderful service, and they make really good machines, which don't need much help, just little tweaks. But that's the lifesaver of this, is that the company, it's a small...
It's well-made equipment, too. I mean, it
really
lasts
care.
a long time.
Yeah.
One of our goals is to get a felting machine. Of course, because I'm a felter, I think that would be so cool. But we're undecided whether we want a needle felting machine or a wet felting machine. They're two different processes, but I think they pretty much give you the same output. So we've been looking around for a wet felting machine. We thought about getting a washing system instead of our sinks, but actually our sink system is working pretty well right now. So, and we can wash a lot of fiber. So, you know, who knows, but we're happy with the equipment. We really like it. It's fine. It's, we just love it. So we'll walk over here. Maybe there'll be some sheep, but I doubt it.
It's sheep siesta time.
Yeah, they sleep during the day.
Oh, and the sky looks so much bluer than when we first started.
Oh yeah, it's
Yeah.
beautiful out.
Is the reception better?
Yes, it is.
Good.
So I have a ton of questions, just myself. So if you had just one job that you had to do and you were just doing it from start to finish, how long does it take to process, say, a 5-pound fleece?
5-pound fleece into what, roving?
How about into yarn?
Into yarn.
Wow. Well, so just the washing itself. I'm trying to hear, honey. I know. Just the washing itself is like 3 hours for 2 pounds, because it takes 45 minutes to wash the first time, 45 minutes to wash the second time, and 45 minutes to rinse. So just 2 pounds of that 5-pound fleece took me 3 hours, okay? Then it takes a day to dry. And then Tim knows how many pounds per hour he can run through the carder, but I think it's like, you know, I'm guessing maybe 10 pounds an hour. No, probably, I don't know. If he hadn't walked away, I probably could have answered that question better.
That's okay. You can let me know and I'll put it in the video comments.
Yeah. And then it has to go through the draw frame. So that 5 pounds would take, you know, hours to run that all through the draw frame multiple times, probably, you know, 4 or 5 hours. And then spinning 5 pounds of fiber, wow, it would take another, you know, probably all day. You know, we're talking like all week long to work on making something from start to finish into yarn. Of course, we can do multiple things at once though, you know?
Right.
So we can be making roving at the same time as we're making roving for the yarn, or we can be making rug yarn and we're washing wool over here and I'm dyeing here. So it's a lot of multitasking, you know?
Yeah. But it gives you perspective on the price point on taking your fiber to a mill and having them and do all the dirty work for you.
Yeah, like the washing, right.
Yes, exactly.
We have questions.
So we have a couple of folks who have just joined us too. Thank you for coming in, and please make sure you keep your phones on mute. We will be, this is recorded, so we will be uploading this to YouTube later, so you can catch the beginning of the live then.
And we have a question for Tim here. The question was,
How much roving can go through the carder in an hour?
The one carder, the one that was actually making the roving today, can do about 2 pounds in an hour. The other carder can do about 3 pounds. It goes faster, and some roving it doesn't make as nice. It gets a wild hair that'll wrap around, and it comes out a little bit like link sausage, which isn't a problem for hand spinners. But if you want really beautiful fine roving, I use the one that makes about 2 pounds an hour. And then if it's just going to be, if it's for a hand spinner or whatever, we can use the other one. Between the two of them, though, I can make about 5 pounds of roving an hour, which is, that's assuming nothing goes wrong. And it takes, to make that 5 pounds, it probably takes maybe an hour on the picker to get it all picked and read and staged. And then it probably, the washing is a whole nother process. Go ahead.
Just wanted to mention the interesting thing about the humidity levels in the mill.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. So there is a problem sometimes.
Yeah. Also, climate control is something that's difficult to manage in the mill. Some mills have like a closed up system where it's very climate controlled. This building is not insulated, and we have heat and air conditioning, but it's the weather during different times of the year really affect the spinning mostly, and the static levels. When Tim's making the roving, things will wrap around the rollers on the draw frame if it's too staticky. So we have ways to raise the humidity in the mill, and that helps. But sometimes we have to stop and say we can't do it today because there's a storm coming and the air pressure is changing, and it's just not working. So
we're fortunate here. We have enough other things to do. If something isn't working on one of those machines because of humidity, when you walk in here, you'll see we have a lot of other fiber interests to keep us busy. So we just don't run the machine that day. We do something else, and that needs to be done too. And it's often more fun.
Right. And that's a great thing about having this all on our farm, because everything's contained. We don't have to commute. I can work here for an hour and then go take a break and then go down to the mill and work there, and then or go, do something with the animals. So it's great. So let's go inside. Oh, well, the first thing you'll see is 2 big livestock guardian dogs that are on day duty here. Well, so I spoiled them this past summer because it was so hot that they were hot outside. So I turned on the air conditioner in here, and they come in and stay here during the day. Well, now they're spoiled, as you can see. Big fiber animals here.
Great Pyrenees.
Yep, they're Great Pyrenees. And we also have 2 more livestock guardian dogs that are younger, that are a little bit more mobile. They're a Great Pyrenees and a Anatolian Shepherd named Charlie. So this is my wool shop. And as you can see, it's also my workshop because I'm working on things furiously right now. I'm always so inspired by the wool that I get from my sheep, and yesterday a friend was here and we just took a walk around the farm and we found these grapevines and she said, oh, let's just wrap these up and make little wreaths. So I was like, wow, this is so cool. So I thought, oh, wouldn't this be great if we had like pumpkins or if I wrapped the rug yarn around it or something, you know. So there's always creative things going on in this room. As you can see, these are my COVID hats. I did a lot of knitting through the COVID time. This is one of my wool paintings. This is Tim doing a painting of the barn. He did an actual painting. So that's one of my needle felted wool paintings.
With no paint.
No paint. Well, these are fiber artists we're talking to.
Yeah,
so it's all wool. It's needle felted and it's dyed wool. Then over here are some of our beautiful yarns that we've made in our mill. We have alpaca blends. This is alpaca. This is some of our great art yarn. This is the single ply. This is Wensleydale. Isn't this beautiful? You see how those singles turn out. It would be great for weaving. I've knit with it. It's really pretty. I love textured homespun looking yarns, you know, because it looks like I spun it myself. I don't have time to spin everything. So, you know, when I create a yarn in my mill that looks like it's hand spun, that's great. These are our Jacobs, which are just beautiful. And these are the Save 'em eligible Jacobs. This is from Lily, my lilac Jacob. This one is Brownie and Gretchen, and we separated out the light and the dark. And then we dyed some of it blue and two-plied it. This is a great one. This we call Tim's Tweed. This has the little silk bits in it that he put in it. Tim came up with that one. That's why we call it Tim's Tweed. Beautiful. This one is a Finn Lopi, and I love the Finn, how it's kind of a little bit felted, like that. It's so cool. This is from Coco Chanel. I mean, each sheep produces some fiber of some variety. And if they're not a soft sheep, then they can be made into rug yarn, or I can felt with their fiber. So every sheep has a job.
This is the rug yarn that we showed you, the machine, which wasn't hooked up. And the way I do it is I feed in a little bit of one color and a little bit of the next color and a little bit of the next color. And it creates a bump. This bump is, I didn't write on here, but it's probably about 75 yards. Yeah. And it has all these different pastel colors. It'll be like a couple of yards of one color, then a couple of yards of the next color, and a couple of yards of the next color. This is cotton core, and it's a little bit squishy. It's not real tight. Over here is a rug.
Okay, this is our sample rug.
We have a friend, a local artist who makes rugs. If someone wants to buy a bump of rug yarn, she'll make a rug for you. And this is made from the same material as this that she weaves, and she can make different sizes. This is a sample size.
You can see how she hemmed the edge. Isn't that nice? Beautiful. And these are hand washable. You can wash these rugs. She came over the other day with the samples. She said, I washed this and it looked just like, you know, not dry, not put in a dryer and not agitated, but hand washed, but it's washable. These are some of the beautiful roving bumps we love to make in the mill. So we have a little machine that we didn't show. It's called a bump winder, and it just takes the roving from the can and winds it into this bump. And this is great for spinners. We make like 8-ounce bumps, Katie. This particular fiber right here was 3 colors that we put on the belt of the spinner. What? Oh. And made into, this is a family. This is one family of sheep, 3 ewes that I have that are grandmother, granddaughter, and great-granddaughter here, right in this bump. So I guess we're getting close to the end. So do we have any more questions?
I want to take a minute to point out, Bridget is a really good fiber artist. She designed the logo for the festival this year, and I think they call her the featured artist, and she never wants to talk about her art. But there's 5 or 6 really good pieces in here, and Bon's going to walk around and show each one of them, and Bridget will say a little bit about it.
Okay.
This is improv,
Okay.
the impromptu.
So, like I
feature.
said before, this is Tim doing a painting of the barn.
Yeah.
And this is the felted. And then over here, Bon. So this is one of my favorite views on the farm, just looking out over to the Blue Ridge Mountains with my sheep and looking at the trees. I love the views here on the farm, and I'm so inspired by it. But I love my little paintings with my sheep. This one is funny, but this is in New England. And this was inspired by a picture that Melissa Weaver Dunning took when she was up in New England doing a weaving course or something, or class. And she posted the picture, and I said, Melissa, can I use that as a model for a wool painting? She said, sure. So I did that from that. Then I did the little mini ones. Look, here's my little sheep. And Tim made the stands out of these oak, which is very cool. And then I think I have a couple more over here.
What are these, Rich?
Oh, so those are the dyed needle cases.
Oh,
Yeah, and I'm going to be doing felted paintings on those as well. And then here's a couple more paintings. This is one I just finished, so it's not in the frame yet. But this is just another Blue Ridge Mountain view. And then this one is Frances, and she was when she was a little lamb, she was really sick, and I saved her. And then I took her, she lost a lot of her fleece because she had a fever. So all the little wool, little curls came off. So I used them in this picture. And now she's an adult, and she's still here with us.
Let's show this.
And finally, we have, if you are looking for some of more of our products after this weekend, you can look on Etsy, Bridget's Farm Cart. Like I said, the cart came before the mill, and the cart came after the horse, but before the mill. And thank you so much for tuning in today and seeing everything we do. We love to share it, and you're welcome to come and visit. And thank you.
In-person tour. Any last questions?
It doesn't look like we have more questions, but I would just want to share so many thank yous for doing the tour. For Margaret Briggs is there. Solitude Wool has been watching too. They say hello to you guys.
Hi, guys.
And Solitude Wool also
Hi,
said,
Bridget.
thanks so much for making Bridget tell us about her paintings. I agree. And yeah. So, and thank you so incredibly much, Bridget. We really appreciate this.
Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Thanks,
So,
you guys.
if you missed the beginning, it'll be uploaded on Zoom, or I'm sorry, it'll be uploaded on YouTube shortly. And Sarah Newberry also said, thank you for the tour. And Bridget, what a beautiful shawl.
Well, thank you. I made it. Of
Do you
course.
remember the pattern name?
And we need to thank our videographer,
no, sorry.
Bridget's sister Bonnie is the videographer.
Yeah. That's right. This was on, I can't remember. Sorry.
Message me later and I'll put it up in the YouTube
I will.
comment.
Okay.
Okay,
Will.
perfect. Thank you, everyone. I'm going to stop the
Thank you.
recording.
Okay.
Bye-bye.
Bye.